You're watching Kettle Messages Tarot with your Oracle and Reader the GEMSTAR. It's time to spill some intuitive tea together again. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing. Reach out to the GEMSTAR for your own personal private reading at kettlemessagestarot.my.canva.site. The link is in the description box below. Now let's shuffle the cards and spill the tea. Hello and welcome back to Kettle Messages Tarot Live with your Oracle and Reader the Gemstar. And I'm here to spill the general intuitive tea. These are random general intuitive readings. If the messages resonate, then they resonate. If they don't, then see you in the next tea spilling. These are random general intuitive readings. If the readings resonate, we're going to give the card to shuffle. And then we're going to get into this general intuitive tea. The topic of this tea is what's about to go down. What's about to go down. We've tried to go live several times and we have been crashing and crashing. So thank you, Spirit, for making this live stream happen. Let's see what's about to go down. They don't want you to know, but we're about to find out. So thank you once again for joining us on Kettle Messages Tarot Live. I'm your Oracle and Reader the Gemstar, and let's get into this tea. Hello and welcome. I'm your Oracle and Reader the Gemstar, and you're watching Kettle Messages Tarot Live, spilling general intuitive tea. If the messages resonate, let us know. If not, then we'll catch you on the next tea spilling. Let's give the cards a shuffle and let's see what this general intuitive tea is going to let us know. The topic of this reading is going to be what's about to go down. So let's see what's about to go down. What is about to go down at this time? Okay, so somebody's pausing, looking at the past, thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, feeling nostalgic about the past. Someone here is taking a life review, looking back at their life, looking where they started from, where they are now. They're looking back at the past at this time. They're feeling like a victim of their past. Someone here is feeling like a victim of their past. In the past, there were many connections that you may have thought were soulmates or have felt like they were your soulmates, but they were not your soulmates. They were your life experiences for you to learn, for you to grow. And now you're looking back at these past connections, or whoever's tuning into this reading at this time is feeling nostalgic about the past, reminiscing about the past. How they felt victimized in the past, thinking that they had soulmate connections. But now that they look back, they can see that those connections, those relationships, friendships, partnerships that they had in their life were not soulmate connections. At least were not true soulmate connections. But someone here feels like they have been through a lot of toxic relationships, a lot of relationships where they weren't chosen in the end, where the answer was always no in the end. And now they're looking back at these past relationships, at these past connections at this time, and coming to the realization that those weren't their soulmates. There was so much injustice, unfairness, mistreatment in past connections, and that's why someone feels like a victim. But they're reminiscing about it. They're looking back at this past. What are you learning from this? So what's about to go down so far is that somebody is going to sit with their cup of tea and look back at their past. They're going to start reminiscing about their past relationships and everything that happened in those past relationships, the experiences, the moments that were shared between them and another. And now, in these memories, they're starting to feel and bring up the pain of the past once again. The memories of when they were hurt, when they were abused, when they were mistreated, when they were let down, when they felt like a victim, when the answer was always no. They were never chosen. They thought that these were soulmate connections. But now that they look back on these relationships, they can see that these were not soulmate connections. There were a lot of unfairness, one-sided relationships. There was always destruction in the end. A lot of relationships that ended catastrophic, ended in destruction, ended in toxicity. Someone is sitting at this time, looking at their past, remembering these relationships, feeling these feelings, feeling these emotions at this time. Feeling like a victim. Because in their past, now they're realizing how many times they settled. How many times they settled with people that they thought they had a true connection with, a deep connection with, an intimate connection with, but only to find out that these weren't true connections. These weren't soulmate connections. These were connections where they were getting abused, treated like a victim. And now they're looking back at all the connections that they settled in, that ended in destruction. But now what's about to go down is that somebody is about to take action, because they're starting to realize that this nostalgia that they're feeling at this time, that they're going through at this time, that they're indulging in at this time, is a process of healing, is the first step to their healing. First, you must admit that there's a problem. And there's a problem. Victimhood. Feeling like you don't have control of your life at this time, because you can't trust yourself enough, because in the past you allowed yourself to be a victim. But you were dealing with manipulators, you were dealing with gaslighters, you were dealing with narcissists, you were dealing with abusers, with sociopaths, with psychopaths, with people who were emotionally immature, emotionally unavailable. Their rejection was God's protection. But whoever is tuning into this reading at this time, this tea so far says, someone here is taking a pause at this time. They're taking a life review. They're looking at their past. They're looking at their past relationships, their past connections, to see what went wrong, why there was so much destruction, why there was so much chaos, why there was so much abuse, why there was always a no at the end of a relationship, Always someone walking away, leaving destruction and broken hearts behind. Because these weren't soulmate connections. These were fly by night lovers. You realize now that in the past you settled. Someone here settled in the past, but now is going through a healing. They're saying, I choose now at this present time to no longer be a victim, to no longer put up with injustice in my life, no longer allow others to come and create destruction in my life, no longer steal my peace of mind, of heart, of spirit. Someone here is saying, I am going to take action. I am no longer going to settle. When even the thought of settling, the answer will be no. When even the thought of settling pops up, no will be the answer. Because someone here is choosing to free themselves from toxic relationships, from illusions, taking off rose-colored glasses, settling for less. What's going down now is a healing. Someone here choosing to stop being others' victim. Someone here is tired of the injustice in relationships, connections, friendships, social circles. Tired of being treated less than, disrespected, without honor. Someone here is tired of not being honored, of not being seen, of not being worthy. So someone here is going to take action. Make themselves worthy. Open themselves to new relationships and new connections. Because in the past, there was a whole lot of bad luck and toxicity in relationships. But now that you are healing, you are going to be giving out that positive, happy energy. That self-love, you're going to pour on yourself. Someone is going to pour self-love on themselves at this time. They're going to take action. They're going to take action towards new relationships and new connections. Relationships and connections that honor them. They're no longer going to settle for less. They're no longer going to be somebody's victim. Somebody now wants a king. Somebody wants a king. Somebody's waiting for their king at this time. Somebody's waiting for their king. Because in the past, they had gestures. A whole bunch of gestures. A whole bunch of clowns. Partners in the past who were toxic, abusive, narcissistic, unfair. Someone here is going to welcome into their life a king or queen, someone worthy of them. Someone worthy of them because someone took action. Someone started healing themselves. Somebody started working on themselves. Somebody here started pouring self-love on themselves. Somebody stopped being a victim. Somebody said enough with the injustice. Somebody said here enough with people coming and causing destruction in my life. Somebody here leveled up. They leveled up or they leveling up to king status, to queen status. These past relationships, these past connections, you were sick to your stomach. You had no energy. You couldn't care for yourself. You couldn't take care of yourself because you were taking care of another, pouring your love into another's cup and not your own. But now you're paying attention to your health. Now you're pouring that love onto yourself. Someone here is pouring the love onto themselves, taking care of their health, because in the past they neglected themselves and sacrificed themselves for someone else. Someone else that took their love and stomped all over it, abused them, disrespected them, lied to them, cheated on them, gaslighted them. And now they're about to hit the jackpot. Now here's somebody's leveling up. They're owning their own business. They're coming into some money. Someone here is leveling up, marrying into money. Money coming in from all directions. From all directions. Someone here is definitely leveling up. But somebody here had to look back at their past. What went wrong? What role did they play? Somebody here is taking a look in the mirror. And someone here says, this is where I wasn't taking care of myself. This is where I put someone else before myself. This is where I settled. This is where I sacrificed. This is where and with whom I thought I was with a soulmate. But now I can see that these weren't soulmate connections. These were toxic karmics. These were plants. This king or this queen coming in can have children or be light of spirit, light of heart, be childlike. They definitely like to have fun. They like to enjoy life. They may be foreign. What's going down is that people are releasing toxic connections, healing themselves, working on themselves, putting themselves first. Stop being victims. Enough with the injustice. Enough with the self-injustice. Not showing up for yourself, not taking care of yourself, not loving on yourself. And now a new love is coming in. This person is going to be mature. They may have children. They may not have children. They can have a childlike personality. They can have childlike ways. Or they can be a parent. They can be an older person, a wealthy person, a well-to-do person, a well-educated person. This person can be foreign. This person can know many languages. This person can be a pilot. This person can be a captain, part of the military. This person can be part of the military. They can be retired. You can meet them on a vacation. You can meet them while traveling. You can meet them while you're healing yourself. You're coming out of bad health. Someone here is coming out of bad health, going through a healing. After coming out of a toxic, abusive relationship, a new relationship is coming in with someone older than you. Someone older than them is coming in. This person is well-to-do, well-educated, know many languages. They can be foreign. They love to travel. They have a childlike spirit. They themselves can be parents and have children. They're very loving. They're very kind. They're very generous. This person has also suffered a loss in their life. This person that's coming in, this new love that's coming into your life, the person tuning into this tea, the new love coming in to your life, may have just lost a child, may be grieving over the death of their child. They also may be divorced. This new love that's coming in for some people is divorced. has children, if they have children, one of their children has passed away. They are mourning this child. It is the biggest grief in their life. Let's continue this tea. Someone is going to meet a new love. This person is going through a mourning, a grieving. They lost a child. They're going through a divorce. They've been through a divorce. They themselves have gone through a healing or are going through a healing at this time. So this person may be in a similar situation. If your tea is the tea that has come out earlier, that you have come out of a toxic relationship, you have worked on yourself, are healing yourself, are working on yourself at this current time, and you are single and open to love, or you are just single, someone new is coming into your life. This person can be foreign. This person can know multiple languages. This person is very worldly. They're educated. They're wealthy. Some may have children, may be divorced. Also, there's one strongly coming through, a divorced man who has lost a child recently through a sickness. The child could have had cancer or could have been born with a birth defect, a heart defect. This person is close and tight with their family. They have a big family. They come from a big family. They know them in their community. They're close to their family. They're close and well known in their community. They have a lot of support. They're a person of society. They may even have royal ancestry. This may even be your tea. You may be a divorcee. You also may have lost a child and are grieving a child. And you also will meet someone at this time. If you are looking for love, or if you are single, meeting someone at this time that is going through a similar experience. But this will not be a trauma bond, even though it sounds like a trauma bond, because both people in this tea are healing, are working on themselves. Yes, they look at their past, but they're growing from their past. They're healing from their past. They're moving on from their past. People are looking back at their past, but it is because they're looking at things that they can work on to improve themselves in this reading. And so when these two people come together, then they are both working on their healing at the current time, or they have worked on their healing on themselves, and they are open and looking for a connection, but one of tradition, one that family is close. They want their partners to be close to family, or they want to be able to have a partner that can be part of a big family and who loves to travel. This person, as we said, may be in the military, or they may come from wealth, even royal ancestry. But what's going down now is that there are people that have gone through a lot of loss, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, that have looked at their past, have looked at themselves, decided not to be victims of their circumstances and work on themselves. and take action to change their situation, to change their story, to change their circumstances. And so these are not people who are just sitting there looking at their past, crying, boo-hoo, oh, I was abused. No. These are warriors. These are survivors. These are saying, we're not taking it anymore. We're not accepting it anymore. We're not settling anymore. We're not looking back and opening the doors to the past anymore. People here have worked on themselves, are working on themselves, want to better themselves, want more out of their life, want more out of themselves, out of their love lives. Working on their finances, working on their fitness, working on their health, working on welcoming healthy relationships into their life. People who are working on themselves, purchasing houses, relocating, moving, going back home, relocating, moving from home. Yes, someone here got divorced because of third-party interference. Someone here got divorced because of cheating. That's confirmation. That's confirmation. We said this king here, this gentleman here, that someone is meeting, that we said was divorced, had children. This person got caught cheating. That's why there was a divorce. He could have lost custody of the child, or the child could have passed away. Someone here lost custody of a child because of infidelity that led to a divorce. Let's look into this wealth. Let's look into this wealth. Because the story here for the king, if you're the male tuning in, then your life has gone through destruction due to infidelity. You could have lost custody of your children. You could have wound it up in a divorce. And parents could have gotten involved. Parents could be very disappointed. Grandparents could be very disappointed. A father could be very disappointed with the male tuning into this tea right now. If you are the male that's coming out in this reading, then you're going through pain, suffering, mourning, despair due to a divorce or due to losing the custody of your children due to cheating. And this has disappointed somebody's in-laws, somebody's grandparents, specifically a father. A father or grandfather is very disappointed. And maybe this is where the sudden wealth comes from, right? Inheritance. What's going on here? Oh, people playing dirty for this money. People gonna play real dirty for this money. Okay, so somebody's fighting over money, over inheritance at this time. Somebody's not feeling very lucky, very blessed when it comes to money and finances. And so they're going to cheat, they're going to rob, they're going to steal. Or this could have happened to a female that's tuning into this reading at this time. So we explain what's going on with the male. With the female, what's going on here is that there was a lot of misfortune in the last relationship. The female here, in their last relationship, their lover not only cheated on them, but stole their money, may have mistreated their children. Okay? The females tuning into this tea, you had a piece of work in the past. This person, they were an abuser. They abuse children. They steal money. They lie. They conniving. They cheat. They sneaky. They sly. They strategic. They manipulate. They mess with your mind. They steal your fortune and all your good luck. When you started this relationship, you felt you was blessed, you was lucky, you met a soulmate. Then you realized that this person, all they was bringing was misfortune. Your life started breaking down. You started breaking down. You stopped taking care of yourself. Some of you that have children, this ex-lover was abusing your children or neglecting your children or did not want to accept your children, did not want to be part of the family, put you against your own family, put you against your community, made you sick. You know, some of these exes got real dirty and even tried to drug you or poison you. And this is why you broke free. Some of you wound up in rehab because of this ex. For the females tuning in, you could have wound up in rehab because of an ex, turning you into an addict. You could have wound up in the hospital, in the emergency room, from the punches and the kicks and the slaps, from the physical abuse. If it wasn't physical, they will verbally abuse you, yell at the children if you had them, or neglect your children, isolate you from your children, from your family. And you decided to not move any further. You decided to say no to that connection and work on yourself. Check yourself into rehab or moved away from this person, relocated, got away from this person. And you're healing and you're working on yourselves. There was a lot of injustice for the males in this tea and the females in this tea in their past relationships. And now they're going to be welcoming new relationships, new connections. They may be foreigners. They may come from wealth. They may be worldly, wealthy, well-educated. These new loves that will be coming in. Let's get a few more messages for this tea. Let's go back to our male here who's in despair, who is suffering because he lost custody of his children or because he got divorce papers because of infidelity. Now, males, you could have caught her cheating on you. You took custody of the children, but you can be brokenhearted over the divorce. But there's definitely parents and in-laws who are very upset because of the destruction of this marriage and of this family. Okay, so somebody was distorting the truth here in the male's tea. Somebody was distorting the truth, being a liar, and they got caught anyway, right? Gaslighting, distorting the truth, keeping secrets, being a liar, and somebody got caught. The male got caught, or males, you caught your girl out there, your wife out there, tempting and flirting with somebody else, cheating, straying on you, lying to you, distorting the truth. And this is why this ended in divorce. They were devaluing you, underestimating you, demasculating you, making you feel small, disrespecting you. And it could have been you, males, the kings, tuning in to this tea, that divorced their wife, they took their kids, or they divorced their wife or brokenhearted because the wife has the custody of the child. But there are people here taking action to bring justice into their life, into their situations. People are not just going to be sitting down and taking this lying down. People are working on themselves, healing themselves, and trying to get their lives together. You are focused males on your money, on your prosperity, on your money and your prosperity. Someone here is scared to be left behind. This is why somebody's in despair. So even though somebody got cheated on, even though somebody here is fighting for custody of the children, somebody is still brokenhearted that this marriage or this relationship is ending. But someone here doesn't miss a thing. Somebody here doesn't miss a thing. Somebody here was catching all the lines, was having all the receipts, was seeing somebody flirting here, straying from the relationship. Somebody was observing here, being devalued, being disrespected, underestimated. Somebody here realized that they were being used for money, used for their money. That someone here was holding on to someone real tight because they was holding on to the money. All right, guys, you could have been dealing with a gold digger. You caught her lying and cheating and you left her, or vice versa. Your girl, your wife has caught you cheating with someone else, and now you're going to be in divorce court, and they're going to want custody of the kids, and they're going to want the money, the property. They're going for it all. They're going to try to stay with it all. Okay? And this can have you in despair. Let's see what's going on with our females. My females over here dealing with a no good, low down, dirty scoundrel, a child abuser, a wife beater. What's going on here? Being pulled in two different, there we go. Lover's triangle, cheating, being pulled in two different directions, being caught in a triangular relationship. Okay? There's no moving forward with someone here, ladies. There's no moving forward with them because they're cheating. Because they're abusing. And because they think this is funny. They think this is funny. This is funny to them. They don't care that they're putting you in competition. They like it. They like the attention. They want you to fight for them. They want you to chase them down. They want you to get their attention. They want you begging. They want you crawling. They want you on your knees. As we said, these connections that people are being nostalgic over, these past relationships, these past connections, they are toxic. They are no good. There's no change in them. It is best to work on yourselves, heal yourselves, and open yourselves to new connections and make better choices in your love life and in your life in general. At this time, this has been the spilling of the general intuitive tea. On Kettle Messages Tarot, I'm your Oracle and reader, the GEMSTAR. We thank you for tuning in, being part of our sacred space, welcoming us into yours, and for supporting the channel. May you have a blessed one. Ciao. Support your content creators. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And to receive your own personal private reading, book it at our website, kettlemessagestarot.my.canva.site, in the description box below.